hosts CoCo and Gregory, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome to Glam Estates Radio Show. It's Wednesday again. We're your hosts. My name is Gregory Paputsian, and with me as always is CoCo Shelburne. Hey CoCo.
Hey Gregory, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just looking outside. It's getting darker and darker every week.
I know. I'm really excited about the weather change, believe it or not. Especially if they say they're going to give us a little El Nino. Maybe we won't be so stuck with the water situation.
Yeah, I'm not so excited about El Nino, but we need the rain. We need the water.
How about an El Nino where we don't actually have to be in it? What about that?
How about we go to Greece when El Nino comes here, right?
That's okay.
I have some plans for that.
Yes, fill up the lakes and we get on going. I like that a lot.
I love the nice weather of California.
Yes. Hey, you know, it's been a really exciting week. There's been a lot going on in real estate, and I don't know if everyone knows about it, but one thing that's been coming up for conversation is the ability for buyers to have a better opportunity in the market. Are you excited?
Woohoo!
You should be excited. This is a really great opportunity.
Right, market is cooling off, and there is less competition out there, so less offers. Prices are stabilizing a little bit, and much better for buyers to shop right now until I guess around February, March.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until things would start picking up again.
Yes.
Right? Do you agree?
I not only agree,
Okay.
I wholeheartedly agree. And it's been seen across the board that it's been a really cherry time for buyers to pick the properties that are out there on the market. That's why I call it cherry picking. It's the end of summer.
We had some drama over the summer, but it's starting to
but it's
going away. But
it's like the cherry properties. It's the ones that are out there that maybe didn't make it through their pricing they had hoped for. They may have been aggressively priced over the summer, or maybe they didn't have easy access in getting their property shown. So lots of combinations can be where sellers are stuck at the end of summer going, oh gosh, now what am I going to do? Plus, if you're at the high end or in the luxury area, which we work mostly in, you'll see that we have come across homes that are outstanding deals, didn't sell because of their pricing. You have much more of an opportunity to get a better deal if the seller's willing to go to that price.
Right.
So if you're thinking about it and you want to know which ones are really the best, Gregory, what's the best number to reach you at?
You know what? Give us a call. It's 562-537-2595. And CoCo's is
323-425-9484. So whatever works easier for you, we're here to make it easy. Or CoCo at glamestates.com.
And Gregory at Glam Estates.
Greg
at Glam
We made it
Estates.
shorter
Right.
because it's just a little more fun.
And our guest is here.
We're really excited at the moment.
We're going to talk about solar today. Our guest just arrived.
So he's getting prepared. He's getting all mic'd up, so they speak.
He's coming from Orange County, actually, and he was parked at the 405 parking lot for 3 hours. So
hey, no big deal in LA, right?
I know.
3 hours to get somewhere, it's no big deal. But he has a great commitment to getting things going and making sure that clients get the best. So that's specifically why we requested him out of all the different people out there.
One of the best to give advice and educate about the solar market and all that, how it works,
how clients can save,
how
your
much you
homeowners
can
save money. He even came up in his Tesla, by the way,
which he charges
at home for nothing.
And he powers his home for nothing, and sometimes he gets a credit for, throughout the year, he gets credit for using solar.
Absolutely, and I have seen his home based on a party or two that his family has had there. And this is a big, giant home with lots of space for electrical, as far as what could be their electrical bill, I should say.
Right.
And then when they get a solar bill that comes, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm sending the bill to the solar company. That's right. Here you go. You can take this and pay me for it. So.
Lots of benefits. If you are considering going solar, there's lots of benefits.
Right. We're going to review today what the pros and cons are of solar, or how it may fit into your lifestyle. Maybe you're thinking to buy, maybe you're thinking to sell, and renters are thinking, okay, now that I have the place, now what can I do to get some money, you know, if I do go to a home, how can I find some way to subsidize my home's payment? And a lot of people have gone in this direction.
That's
And
right.
one of the things that's happening is that the state is offering rebates, of which those rebates won't be around for
another year. I
Yeah,
think?
just another year. So
another year.
time to go, time to go.
Hurry up,
Especially
people.
Yeah, if you're buying that house anyway, you might as well get the deal and then add in the solar. Really get the deal going for sure.
Right. Who needs the bills? Who needs the Edison bills, you know? If you can have a solar or all your house powered by solar.
That's right, Edison, LED WP.
And also, who needs gas if you can drive an electric car, which you charge
the
in
way
your
to go.
home, you know, and back and forth.
It's very eco-friendly, and you don't have all those what can be considered EMFs.
I'm a great fan of the whole thing: solar, wind power, electric cars, all this. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
So you're saying you're not a big fan of the big high tension lines?
Not at all. That's
Weird.
causing a lot of trouble to a lot of people.
They sure do. Do you know anybody who might have been affected by that?
Yeah, I know one or two people.
Yeah, it's a very serious thing. People are trying to step away from areas where
You know what?
those
Some people
power
don't
lines-
know. They don't care because they don't know.
Absolutely. Well, we'll speak on that. Those high tension poles, those high tension wires, those big 100,000 volts that are running through these big towers that are across, both the valley and all of LA Basin. Everywhere you go, you will see them. They kind of look like these giant skeletal towers running across with between 6 and 8 lines per pole that
Right.
run over communities. And what has been coming to play is more discussions and more dialogues. This was about 25 years ago as well. There were discussions that these towers, these power lines, were causing illnesses and cancer because they carry radiation. So they're emitting radiation all the time. Many people don't necessarily say they have any effects from it. However, maybe they're not aware of what those effects can be. And I know for myself, it's hit me personally at home. I believe that
You used to live close to power lines?
I did. I grew up about 3 houses from the field of where these poles are, and these were generally in the poor communities at the time, or in developing communities where like new homes were being built. And at the time, my parents bought their home in the 70s. They came across these homes that were great deals.
Right.
But no one was discussing what the ramifications could be, many of which is cancer, leukemia, ALS, and
It's a sad thing, but you've talked to me about it. How many kids were around your block or your neighborhood that got affected as you were growing up?
then there were 9 homes in the cul-de-sac on that street. And I know of, let's say, the girl in the corner on that flag lot. She had brain tumors, and she died,
How old?
9 years old.
Wow.
The boy at the end of the block, he was 16 and got testicular cancer. I got leukemia, and I was 3 from the field. And you hear them buzzing all day long. They never stop. They don't go away. And that was at me at 17. And then my mother, about 4 years later, had mesothelioma, which is a type of cancer. We called him our stepdad down the road there, ALS. He had ALS and died from that.
Wow.
And then the lady next door had cancer. The guy down at the other block, at the same house where the boy had testicular cancer, a new family moved in, and that man had liver cancer not long after.
I'm sure all these events had nothing to do with the power lines.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it had nothing to do with it. And unfortunately,
They're still building communities with brand new homes next to the power lines, and people are buying them like crazy. We should, with all your experience, and I know that you're going to participate in a documentary that's coming out
yes,
when next
very
year?
excited about this.
Next year?
Yes, next year it should
in
be
a
coming out.
documentary about power lines. You're gonna be there, and I know with all your experience
Christina
and stuff.
Neferis is
With
doing
Christina,
this.
I think we should have Christina here as well.
I'm hoping to have her on very soon.
And do a show about power lines and let people know, and have them, start thinking about this, because it's not a big deal yet, and it has to be a bigger deal of what it is.
Right, it's such a long-term effect situation, and the reason why it's just related is because we're trying to go eco-friendly, and that's why solar is so much better, and that's why it's important to have conversations like this.
Hi, Keith.
Hey,
welcome, please have a seat.
Keith Weiner, how are you, sir?
Good.
Nice to have you. Absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So you'll have there you go. Let's see if you can hear us.
You were parked at the 405 parking lot, I heard, huh?
Yes. Yes. Almost
God.
3 hours from South
So
Orange
sorry,
County.
Keith. I'm so sorry.
We hope that it was worth it for you to come in, though.
Glad you're here.
Thank you.
So Keith, tell
Are
us.
you listening okay? Is everything okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. So we'll give you some time to kind of decompress from the ride. But we were just chatting about environment, and we talked a little bit about the different types of. We were going from a gas-run world, electric-run world, and the traditional formats. And we did talk about also high-tension power lines and how those are now proving to have a bigger effect.
And how people don't know about them so much and what they can cause.
Right.
It was interesting driving up from Orange County today. I was listening to I guess it's Back to the Future Day.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
October 21st, 2015. So what they predicted would happen in the future. And
The Cubs.
well, yeah, the Cubs, but their chances are not good for them.
That's why this DeLorean was out last night.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm one of those electric car drivers, which is kind of unique, I guess, if you would consider many years ago.
Uh-huh.
I like it. I have a solar system on my house, and I've had it for, I guess I was one of the pioneers about 9 years ago, so not many people had that. And
Exactly.
it actually not only makes the electricity for my house, but also for my car. So it's a nice combination, and it works out really good. Don't have to pay for electricity,
That's awesome.
and I don't have to buy gas for my car.
That's right. That's awesome.
That's great. That's a great combination.
So more eco-friendly as we speak.
Yep.
More and more all the time.
That's the good bypass. The bypass, the good product is there's no money. It's nice that you're also helping the environment in the same sense.
Everybody should be aware of. We're living in an era that we should start using less and less resources of the planet, and we should start going to more wind power and solar power, electric cars, all that, because they consume a lot of energy from our planet, and we're running out.
Yeah, it's changed that's why we have a drought, probably to some degree.
That's one thing. Yeah.
Well, California is setting a good precedence for the rest of the country. We happen to live in a good environment for solar because it's relatively sunny here most of the year. Weather's good, and in a lot of cases, the utility bills are very high for the consumer in the state. So it's a good combination.
Definitely. Keith, we're very happy to have you here. Take a moment and introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. When did you start in solar? What made you? What was the exciting event that started you in solar? And
How did you get here? Other than
How did you
the
get
405
here?
parking lot.
Right. So a little background.
Because we know you're very successful in what you're doing.
Background, first career was a military pilot. I was a fighter pilot in the military many, many years ago, and branched off into a career in financial services. And I did that for several years. And when the economy went bad in about 2008, 2009, lost a lot of clientele. Most of them were business owners.
Mm-hmm.
And I had put in a system in my house in 2006. And I had a certain expectation. I'll share a little bit about what happened with that experience. But in the long run, it's been a phenomenal investment for me and my family. It saved us a ton of money. It's paid the system's been paid off for a couple years now. And one of the reasons I got into solar, because it made a lot of sense to me, and I felt that if I could experience it and I could sell it to myself, I could sell it to somebody else.
Right.
Okay. So what happened was the first year, this is again about 9 years ago, I had to wait to the first year to find out what exactly did the system do. Technology today with your iPhone and iPad, you can see instantaneously if it's working or not. But back then, you didn't have that. So I had to wait and actually look at a piece of equipment to tell me what did it do, and it didn't work like it was advertised. It was a very expensive system back then, and I had to spend about 6 months besides learning why it didn't work, to get the company that installed it to basically, if you will, make it up to me or make it work the way it.
What was it that didn't work?
It was supposed to put out a certain amount of power. Kilowatt hours is what most people don't see that. They look at a bill, it costs them $200-300, and that's what they pay, but they're buying units of electricity called a kilowatt hour. And it was supposed to produce 19,200, and it produced 16,599. And my system was close to, at the time, was almost $100,000, and I have a fairly decent tolerance for maybe something that was under 5% off, but it was almost 16% off. So it was outside my tolerance window, and I was very persistent to get the company to make it whole, and they did. The company was SunPower, and that's what I have. What our company product specializes in is condensed power. It produces the most power in a given area, and in a lot of cases there's limitations with roofs, the size of them. There's fire setbacks that the fire department requires not to install on. You gotta have chimneys, might have trees, might have a 2-story house where you're a 1-story house. So there's, in a lot of cases, there's a very limited space where you can put it on the roof.
Right.
And if you can condense the power in that right spot, you have some huge advantages over the competition. So, over the last several years, I've developed a client base of probably over 600 residential customers plus, and then 38 commercial systems.
Wow. Yeah, I know SunPower is a very
Wow.
very fast-growing company. I've heard about SunPower a lot. What is your title there?
Energy consultant.
Energy consultant.
Actually consulting for one of our installing partners right now. So I helped stand up a division, which is a direct sales division 4 years ago, and I'm working in as a consultant now for one of our installing partners with SunPower.
Wow.
This is great.
That's great. It's nice to have dialogues with relation to real estate that are not just buy, just sell. A lot of people are out there doing. We're really interested.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. We have a call.
We have a call. Outstanding.
Hello, you're it's Glam Estate Show?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, this is Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. How's it going today?
Good. Do I just park in this parking structure right here?
Sorry.
Do I just park in this parking structure here?
Oh, you called the wrong number. I'm so sorry.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay.
we are live. We are live on a show right now.
Live on the radio. What would you like to say?
Hello there.
Hey, we're talking about solar. What do you have to say about solar?
Do you have any solar panels on your home?
Are you driving an electric car? What do you do?
Actually, I wanted to get them on, but my architecture is really strange, and I've had 2 companies come, and they can't really put the panels on.
Really? What companies were
Yeah.
those?
I don't know. I think one was the one that goes to Home Depot, and another one. But I mean, I think it's a great
Solar
idea.
City.
I would love to have it, but I don't want. And then they said, well, you could put them in your yard. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going to put those big panels in my yard. But I don't know. It sounds good to me.
Well, Cynthia, actually, the funny thing is you're actually live right now with us on Glam Estates Radio. And our expert is with SunPower. And SunPower is the leading development in solar system. What you haven't, Keith? This is Keith. He's going to say hi.
Hi, Cynthia. A quick question: is do you have a real limited roof space for your house? Is that what the challenge is, or is it the roof material?
I think it's just angles. Like the angles are really different, you know, and maybe the panels would be too heavy.
Yeah,
you know?
When you mean angles, is it just the roof that you would want to have it on faces the wrong direction?
You know what? I'm not really sure. All the company told me is that it wouldn't be able to hold the solar panels.
Okay. So the roof is probably not compatible. That's what the issue is.
Yeah, right, exactly. And they have someone come and get up there and measure and everything like that. So
don't feel like you're isolated. About 40% of the homes out there have certain challenges that doesn't make it compatible for that. So it is what it is.
40%. Wow.
Yeah.
Cynthia, we're on the 4th floor. we're having a radio show right now. We'll be out in about 30 minutes. You should come see us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, it was meant to be to call in.
I know. Okay,
That's brilliant.
park your car and come upstairs, 4th floor.
Be safe. You're good.
Well, wait a minute. On the car thing, though, it says like there's other cars in front of me. You know.
Yeah, you shouldn't block
So-
other cars. Just try to park
Okay,
on the
just
street.
try to find a spot that nobody's gonna.
That's exactly
see
right.
anything.
That's
You'll be
exactly right.
fine.
Okay.
See you at 6:50.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye. So there you go, Keith.
You just
never
arrived
know.
and you have a client.
Hey,
There you go.
what are you going to do? I'm sure Gregory has their phone number. He can help us get that
Yeah,
out
that's
squared
right.
away. But that's what we were saying. So you ended up getting into this so that you could help other people have a more effective use of their money and their time on their home. Is that a pretty accurate way of saying that?
Yeah, so from my experience with the public, and like I said, I got into this business kind of from a bad experience. One of the things I try to convey to the people I help with solar is that in a lot of cases, you can do things in your house that can help save substantial amount of cost, especially if you're a big consumer. And those are, if you have a pool, the pool pumps today are a lot more efficient than they are even 5 years ago. LED lights have come down immensely in cost and can save a substantial amount of energy. Obviously, if you have a decent-sized house and you use lights, you're getting into the time of the year where it gets dark at 5, not at 8. So you'll notice a difference in the wintertime. And then air conditioning, obviously, is becoming a lot more efficient than it was several years ago. So it's the first two items are relatively inexpensive ways to reduce consumption, especially if you're with a company that charges you a premium if you use a lot of electricity. It's called a tier rate. Air conditioning, like I said, it doesn't make sense to just replace one that's maybe 10 or 15 years old. But for people where they go out and they like air conditioning, that's another area that can help save a lot of money if that's an area where you live where it's hot and you need to use it.
Right.
So
So give us an example, like an average home, about 2 to 3 bedroom, 15 to 2,000 square feet. How much do they pay per year, an average, and how much would they save, and how much they would invest, and the return would be?
So my experience with customers range from people that spend maybe as little as $100 a month. That's probably on the low end. To I have customers that spend $30,000 a year for electricity. So
Wow.
there's a huge
Yeah.
range. Those are big consumers, ranches,
Estates.
estates essentially. So
Yeah.
the people that are on a fixed budget and they just want to save money, generally your tolerance for solar is around $2,000 a year. I would say if you're spending that much for electricity and you have a good roof that faces south, southwest, southeast, you can start saving a pretty good substantial amount of money with solar through a lease program. And if you're somebody that has a bigger house that maybe spends $300 or $400 or $500 a month on average, so they're spending upwards of around $5,000 a year, and you have a good roof, relatively new home, but you have a pool or you have live in an area where it's hot, you'll find that the bigger your bill, your payback's better, and oftentimes the financial decision would be more of a purchase, because you'll find that you can probably pay back the system. If you're paying $5,000 a year, maybe in 5 years, which is a pretty good payback. Your rate of return's
You make your
pretty
money in 5
Yeah.
5
It
years.
pays.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And that's with the main big three utility companies being Edison, SDG&E, San Diego Gas and Electric, and then in Northern California would be the Pacific Gas and Electric. Those are the most expensive utilities. LEWP, it's not as bad, so the rates are a little cheaper, so the pay might be a little longer in that case.
Right. Interesting. And what do you see? Do people lease or install? What's the trend? What is good to do? What is better? What is?
How do you qualify? I guess it really.
Yeah, I mean, what's?
Because someone may say, hey, we're going to live here for probably 5-7 years, maybe, is what we're thinking right now.
Yeah, so the lease was very, very popular back in 2009 through 2010. The laws have changed to make it not as appealing as it was back then.
Right.
But from my experience, I would say probably 2/3 of my customers buying, about 1/3 lease. It depends on the individual. It depends on their cash flow. Depends what they're trying to accomplish. So it makes sense for people to lease if they're on a fixed income. If they don't work, if they're retired, they want to stay in their house. They're around more, so they're using, say, electricity more than they would be if they were working. That's not a bad option for them. Whereas a purchase, again, if you're paying $5,000 for a year for electricity, it's going to be a pretty substantial investment off
You
front.
should consider going to solar.
Yeah, I would say, especially if you want to live in your house for a while. If you're going to live in your house for a while, it makes sense to absolutely buy. If you don't know if you're going to live very long in your house, and you could save a substantial amount of money, leasing a system might make more sense. A lot of people are confused about what the lease really means. It's basically just another power source option, which you didn't have up until a few years ago. It's transferable, just like example, if you were to buy somebody's house, they're not going to continue to pay their electrical bill or water bill or gas bill. They're going to transfer it. And
transferable?
And that's what the lease says. It's a transferable for the duration of the lease in the same parameters.
Just change the name after the sale, and
that's exactly
That's true.
The next buyer, the next owner takes it over.
right. And the best way to convey that to prospective home buyers is keep the proposal that you bought it, and you can share that with the person why you made the decision if that becomes an issue of the purchase.
And that's true with your particular company. However, with other companies, is that also the case?
My understanding is that in the industry that the leases that I come up against competition it's a similar program where they're generally 20 years. Some of the lease options are where the payment stays the same over the whole period of time, which I tend to push. In the long run, you save the most. Some other companies will recommend a escalating lease where it goes up 2-3% a year, which is generally less than what the utility companies tend to raise. So you may still save more in the long run because the inflation rate on your bill might be more.
Yes.
If you lock in from my experience, if you lock it in over a period of time, you'll save the most money.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah.
We've run into situations with older solar companies not having similar leases where they'll say, okay, do you want to buy that house? Okay, that's great, but we have to transfer that lease into your name, and they may not qualify. It's interesting how those things, the older leases especially, become complex with the older companies that have initially installed.
And that's, from my understanding, that's pretty similar because you don't own the piece of equipment technically. It's like if you transferred a leased car.
Yes.
You'd have to qualify for a payment. So that what they're doing is they're making sure that the new homeowner can make the payment. The FICO scores have come down. They used to be around 700. Now they're around 650. So if somebody's buying a house today, the loan provisions, as you know, are tighter than they were, say, 10 years ago. So it's pretty fair to say that if you can qualify for a mortgage, you could qualify for a lease on a solar system.
Okay, that's good. That's good. We had a conversation earlier about your situation and your house and your experience, and I think you said that you are able to get some credit at the end. I mean, not only you charge your car, you power your house, and then at the end you've managed to be able to getting some credit.
Well, yeah. So when you
how does this work? Actually, my question would be also to.
He loves analytics.
Yeah,
he loves numbers.
Sorry, yeah.
This is the numbers guy. I'm the macro. He's the micro.
What is usually the deal? Like you produce as much as you need, or if you produce more, do you sell it back and get some credit, or how does it work?
Yeah. So I'm unfortunately talking on the radio. I'm not in front of somebody they can see on TV, but I'm going to show you.
Oh, we have a camera right there.
Okay. Well, I have a. If you can see this, this is my system, and if it comes up on the video here. The yellow is what I produce, and the blue is what I used. Okay?
I'm going to do something we have never done before.
Okay.
All right. So that's actually my system today, and it's starting from 12 o'clock till whatever the time it is right now. So once the yellow is more than the blue, so when the yellow comes up above the blue in that graph there, I'm making more power than I'm using. So I'm actually backfeeding the utility grid, and effectively my neighbor is buying my electricity. at a lot higher rate than I pay for it at night.
Wow. Wow.
A lot higher rate. So
This is something that, sparks interest to a lot of people.
well, I think what happens is most people that buy solar from somebody that's a consultant that sells solar or they advise them in solar, most people don't have it themselves. And I've had it for 9 years, and I've learned from personal experience that there's more ways to skin the cat than just buy the energy the way you used to. There's, depending on your situation and what your needs are, there's different rate structures that various utility companies will afford you that can be very advantageous, help you save a lot more money. For example, I produced about 3/4 of my energy last year, and I actually got a refund check from Edison.
Nice.
There you go.
I didn't push.
These are the things we should start talking.
Yeah, I didn't put out
Money back to homeowners. Yes.
And that was a nice thing is that I used almost 7,000 kilowatt hours, which is which an average home uses in this country. That's what I bought from Edison, or that's what my system didn't produce, and I still didn't pay anything for electricity. And that's because for you consumers out there with electric cars, if you just have an electric car, the utility company will only allow you to get the good rate for your car. They'll actually hook up a special meter for you, and you can get a cheap rate, which is at night. A lot of people don't even know that, and they're just hooking up their car to their house, and now they're buying it at the most expensive rate, which is really, really bad. So, like for example, Edison, which will charge 31 cents a kilowatt hour if you don't know what you're doing, where I'm paying 11 cents for that same electric that I use to charge my car. So it's 3 times cheaper. Also, since I have solar, when I use my air conditioning at night, it's 11 cents, not 31 cents. And they allow you a rate structure in the middle of the day that you can get credited at 46 cents.
CoCo, if I had like solar in my house with all these numbers, I would go crazy.
I know,
all
you'd
day
be
would
so
like,
excited.
With a pad writing down how many
Wait
cents,
till
how many hours, how
7:02.
many kilowatt hours.
What I'm saying is will give people headaches.
I love that stuff.
It actually gives me a headache sometimes sharing this with people. But the proof in the pudding is actually at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It takes a full year and it's very satisfying when I get customers say that he said what he told me it would do, it did. So he basically stood by his word, and it did exactly what he said it was going to do. That's probably the best feedback that I can get from a customer. Where unfortunately, in a lot of different industries, that's not the case. So
It's a great investment from what I understand. I mean, I knew it from before, but with your breakdown, I mean, it's a great investment, and it's also very good for our planet. So that's another thing to motivate people.
It's interesting from my experience. Very few people buy solar for the green environment. They buy it for the green dollar.
Right.
But it's a nice
true.
It's a nice byproduct after the end of the year, because it'll show you what you've saved in trees and paper and carbon emissions. So it is a nice byproduct. I would say in the last 8.5 years, close to 9 years, my system's probably produced somewhere around 170,000 kilowatt hours, maybe 180,000 kilowatt hours.
Wow.
Which would be equivalent to what 25 homes would use in a year. Average, 1,500, 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Wow, you're the man in your neighborhood. Huh?
So it's
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice when you know that. And over the years, I did a little calculation. I probably make 5 million kilowatt hours a year of all my systems that I've produced. So my systems on an annual basis are probably producing over 5 million kilowatt hours a year, which would be what a big, a huge industry would use.
Too bad we don't live so close. Very close. I would pull a cable from your house.
Plug in my
Right. Now, does that also work, like, say, for in industrial situations, like, say, if they own the property and it's a larger industrial setup? Is that feasible?
Yeah, so it's an investment. So big users have humongous size systems. You're talking about 6-figure, 7-figure systems. So it's a big investment. I think what's happened is as time has gone by, the cost of the systems have gone down, and the cost for energy has gone up. So the marriage is becoming more palatable for business owners than they were, say, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
I mean, I'm a pilot, so I fly over Southern California. I am amazed to see, especially in business parks, industrial areas, how much solar is on big buildings. Where the challenge is for commercial is multiple floors. So if you have a warehouse, let's say it's an acre, and it maybe 10,000 feet of it is office space, and the other part's warehouse. Those are ideal spaces because it affords a big area to put solar on. Whereas office buildings that are, like this building is 4 stories, you've got small roof up there, probably a lot of air conditioning units for all the.
Yes.
So it's a little more challenge for a building like this than it would be for, say, more of an industrial-sized building.
So from what I understand, bigger buildings can have bigger solar systems, so maybe the return is faster.
Well, it affords them a better opportunity to produce more power for what their needs are.
So they can sell it back.
Yeah, and there's so for example, like a building like this, there's a challenge because it's an office building, so you're using energy for the most part during business hours.
Right.
Whereas there's some buildings, commercial buildings that make stuff, and then maybe the machine shops, and they can run all their power, or they can make stuff in the middle of the night when the energy is super cheap, and they can use their solar arrays to make produce in the middle of the day, so they can. In some cases, it's a 7-to-1 ratio. It's a huge advantage, huge leveraging tool for a building or company.
So do people store like in large batteries this energy, or
batteries are a little bit cost prohibitive still, very expensive. They're actually more expensive than the solar themselves. So the utility companies let you backfeed, and they actually will utilize your energy you make during the day. Once that goes away, which it may someday, I mean, electrical companies are in business to sell energy, not to buy it from homeowners.
Right.
Then that's where battery storage would be basically the viable option, because you're not going to want to give away your energy to the utility company for nothing. So
that's what our friend Elon is making in Nevada, right?
Right. And that may be
gigafactory
in a relatively near future, where homes will be, at least for electricity, might be totally off grid.
Right.
Wow.
Cheers to the day.
Yeah.
But
I mean, so what I would say about this is, if we started looking at solar like in the early 2000s or even the 1990s, it was sort of a fad. It didn't make financial sense. People just wanted to do it because they thought it was kind of cool. It was kind of like computers. They were very inefficient and very expensive.
Of course.
Now, as the technology gets better, the cost for solar goes down,
and I think as the demands gets bigger and bigger,
right,
then
you have more
prices
customers
are going down.
Right.
That's
Wow.
great.
And what about those individuals who have purchased the 25-year-old systems? Are you able to help them get the old one removed and install the new and more efficient type?
Yeah. So.
Because that happens as well.
That's a good question. I've only seen one system that old, so I haven't seen too many 25-year-old systems.
Well, I can point them out to you if you'd like.
Okay. You're up in Los Angeles. My system's almost 9 years old, which is old. From my experience, what's happening, they become more efficient. So I have 70 panels on my roof. Today, I would need 63 to produce the same energy. Mm-hmm. So I would have a little more space, or less space taken up on my roof. But it still does what I need it to do.
What kind of maintenance panels like that, involve?
Yeah, that's a good question. I kind of consider myself like a little farmer here, except I don't need to use water. There really is no maintenance, as long as it'd be like saying, what's the maintenance on your concrete tile roof?
Right.
There really is none. It's if the sun's out, it's going to make energy. When it's dark, it's not going to make energy.
But they're not made for last forever, or are they? I'm not sure.
And that's another good question. Not all solar panels are created equal. There's a huge discrepancy, not only on efficiency, but how long they will last. And the best will probably last 40 years.
Okay.
Some really cheap stuff that I've sold overseas, you might be lucky to get 10 years out of them. So it just depends. And you'll see a huge power drop off over those 10 years.
But still, in 10 years, you made your money back, like, what, twice?
SunPower doesn't offer those, I would imagine.
No.
Right. No,
Oh,
you
okay.
have the high quality ones
Yeah.
as they
Ours are
offer.
Well, the ones that 40 years, you make your money back, 10 times, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could, in theory. It just depends on, again, the bill and inflation.
Right.
Really interesting.
Very, very interesting. We already started thinking about
Yeah, like
clients
already clients like who just bought,
yeah.
like who could help and plug them into the idea,
You know,
the concept.
I would think, I don't want to get political here, but I would think it would make a lot of sense for our government to someday mandate that as part of a code in the building construction of new stuff. It makes a lot of sense when you have a brand new home where you can run all the electrical conduit and do it while it's in the construction phase with setting all the rails and feet along with the roofing materials. I'll make a bold statement here. From my experience, people will go into homes when they're buying new homes and they'll do upgrades, which are generally they're a little expensive if you do it yourself. And if you were to invest in a solar array in your house, you could probably do it for the same cost as it would be to do a granite countertops for just your kitchen.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that investment would produce about $2,000 a return each year for you in what you would save in energy costs. So where it now is, if you give an example like that, if you went to a brand new home and you upgraded your countertop with granite, you're going to increase the cost of your house. You're going to be in partnership with the state on your tax basis every year, so it's actually you're paying more in property taxes because you did that.
Right.
Whereas solar is exempt from increasing the value of your house, even though it does. It doesn't. You don't have to pay.
Exemption.
There's an exemption for property taxes. So that simple choice there. I mean, it's making you $2,000 a year. If I see other ones, it's costing you a little more in your taxes each year, maybe $100 more. So it's a nice trade-off.
Very nice and interesting things you are telling us today.
Yeah, we even I have a client that recently purchased their home. The home that they were in before, their home was so inefficient. It was about 1,300 square feet, 3-bedroom, and they were spending $475 a month just in electrical.
Yeah.
And they weren't even running the AC that much. It was just that inefficient. And I can imagine they were dying. They were just like, let me buy a house. We've got to get out of here because we can't handle this.
Well, that's the nice thing too about new homes. From what I've seen, is they are built a lot more efficient these days. The building materials they use, the insulation they use, the windows, air conditionings that are installed. So and even most of these new homes are using LED right off the bat. So a bigger house today doesn't use near as much energy as it did, say, even 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
I
And
still have. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I still have many questions for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, no, me too.
And we're running out of time
Shoot,
again.
Shoot. Okay, hold on. Wait. Okay, before we forget, rebates. There are rebates going on until when?
Yeah. So currently,
This is state rebate, yes?
well, currently the federal government will allow a 30% tax credit until the end of 2016. So
Wow,
for the consumer,
30%.
you've got about a year left. Now, I expect, and our industry expects, a mad rush. People are finally say they have to do it. So I wouldn't, if somebody's on the fence, I wouldn't wait till October of next year. I would start.
Yeah.
I would probably say June is when you'd want to really ensure that you get everything signed up and you get basically in line to get installed. I anticipate next year being a pretty crazy year in our industry because of that.
Right.
As for rebates with the state, which are utility rebates, it depends on the utility company. They're for the most part almost gone in all of them. The major three there, which is Edison, SDG&E, and PG&E. Those are the primary utility companies for the state of California. But some of the smaller companies, like in LA, you've got obviously LAWP. If they're not, they're almost done with rebates. There's Pasadena. I'm not sure if there's rebates. Riverside Power, Burbank. You just have to check with the utility company. Zuzu Power, I think, may have some rebates still.
And they can call you. Can they call you for that as well?
Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Your phone number? Or
Yeah.
Well, if you want to call me, my number is 949-463-2051. That's my direct cell. You're more than welcome to call me and tell me that you heard on the radio show, and I'll be glad to give you my best advice on helping you with your situation.
That's great.
And how about an email address, just in case? We'll be happy to post that for you.
That would be Keith R. Weiner, so KEITH-R Weiner at cox.net.
Got it.
Got it. Okay.
That's fabulous. Well, having an expert here who has the knowledge and the experience of being the consumer and now being the advocate for how it affects people's lives. Has really been a pleasure and an honor to have you here for that. I can't thank you enough for
Thank you.
coming.
For sure.
Thanks for inviting me.
You should be back. You have so many things. I'm sure you have so many things to say more, and I have more questions. But unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Gregory's very excited.
Yeah, I love
know,
this
he's like,
stuff.
"Oh,
I
have
love
more."
this stuff. No, I love this stuff.
Well, we love helping our clients, especially those who are going to stay in their homes, how to save more money and be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing that you can not only do for your wallet, but for the environment. And again, if you're staying in your house for a long time and you have a good sized utility bill, it will definitely pay off for you in the long run.
And it adds equity. If it's transferable like this, it adds a lot of equity.
It's a
People
plus.
want it. They're like, great, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you were going to leave at some point and sell, you can have
So
it.
many benefits. Go
Yes.
solar, people. Go solar.
Yes.
Okay, you ready for a big glam it up, baby? Hold on. Thank you all for tuning in. Until our next show, glam it up, baby.
You're listening to Glam Estates Radio with your hosts, CoCo and Gregory, right here on LA Talk Radio.